Okay, I want to start this morning by reading you a verse of a poem called My Shadow. Maybe you've heard it before. I have a little shadow that goes in and out with me, and what can be the use of him is more than I can see. He is very, very like me from my heels up to my head, and I see him jump before me when I jump into my bed. Have y'all ever heard that poem before?
No.
No?
Not before today.
Well, that's an old poem written by Robert Louis Stevenson in 1886, and it's called My Shadow. And that's just the first verse. It's a longer poem. So maybe you ought to ask your teacher or your mom or dad to find that poem for you sometime and read all of it. My name is Sheri Sutton, and I'm a member of the Wichita Falls Poetry Society. This organization was founded in 1931, and next year we will be celebrating 90 years with this organization. And over the years, the Wichita Falls Poetry Society has encouraged poets to read, write, and perform poetry. So it's a really great organization, and maybe one of these days when you're a little bit older, you might want to join. So how many of you like to read poetry? Raise your hand. Good. Has anybody written a poem?
Did you write a poem last year in first grade?
Good. Good. Well, maybe you'll continue to write poetry. I hope so. So why do you think poetry is important?
Because people like to read it.
People like to read it, yes. What else?
And it can help you learn words.
Yes, it can. That's very good. Anything else? It also
they have lots of rhymes. Get over here.
It also gives us a way to express ourselves, right? And maybe
it also makes you want to sing along with it.
It certainly does. Certainly does. Those are very, very good answers. Thank you. So there's many ways to write poetry. You know, some poems are real long, some poems are real short. Some poems have punctuation, some don't. Some poems rhyme, others do not. So there's all kinds of poetry forms that you will become aware of as you go on through school. And a lot of them are really fun to write. So I hope y'all will continue to read and write poetry as you get older. So who knows what rhyme, the word rhyme, means?
It means when you rhyme.
No, raise your hand. You said how many, so raise your hand. You know what it means to rhyme.
It means that the words sound alike.
Yeah, the words sound alike. That's very good. So you've got the poem, that verse from My Shadow in front of you, I think, on your work paper. So do you see any words that rhyme in that verse? Do you have those papers in front of you with the poem?
Yes.
Okay.
Are there any rhyming words in the very first poem?
Yeah. On the very first page, are there any rhyming words in that poem?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Okay, what are they?
Head in bed. Head in bed.
Head in bed and me and see. Right?
Like him.
Yes. Okay. Well, let's go to the next poem. It's called The Loser. And you'll see why it's called that in a minute. It was written by Shel Silverstein in 1974. Mama said I'd lose my head if it wasn't fastened on. Today, I guess it wasn't, because while playing with my cousin, it fell off and rolled away, and now it's gone. And I can't look for it because my eyes are in it. And I can't call to it because my mouth is on it. Couldn't hear me anyway because my ears are on it. Can't even think about it because my brain is in it. So I guess I'll sit down on this rock and rest for just a minute.
Mhm.
Has your it's a funny poem, isn't it? It's very imaginative. Has one of your parents ever told you you might lose your head if it wasn't fastened on? No. Well, he says, I guess I'll sit down on this rock, but in the picture that's by the poem, what is he sitting on?
His head.
His head. Wouldn't that be funny?
Mm-hmm.
Can you just imagine what that would be like if you
He
walked?
thought it was a rock.
He thought it was a rock, exactly, but it was his head. So what kind of idea do you get from this poem? When I read the poem, did anything come to mind?
Head bent down.
Nothing. You didn't get any kind of idea about the poem? Something that an idea you could take with you so you won't lose your head?
Maybe keep it on, keep your head on, so you don't lose your brain.
You can stitch it up.
You can.
Eyes and your ears.
Nope. You can tie it up.
Oh,
You can put a scarf around your head.
well, that would be a good idea. I think really maybe what the poem is.
You can sew it too.
I think maybe one of the things the poet is trying to tell us is to pay attention, right? So that we don't go around all crazy and not paying attention. And, when somebody says, pay attention or don't lose your head, they don't literally mean that your head's going to fall off. They mean that you're going to get all flustered and frustrated, and you won't be able to do, what you're supposed to be doing. So like, you've got to keep, you've got to pay attention. You've got to keep up with things. It's like when your teacher tells you that you have some kind of homework or some kind of class work to do, and you need to focus on that and do it and not, be frustrated about it, but just focus and do it. Or when your parents tell you to do chores, to pay attention and do what you're supposed to do. So I think maybe that's one of the things he was trying to get across, possibly. So I've got one more poem that I want to read before I turn it over to the musician that's going to give you a presentation on music. This poem is titled The Arrow and the Song, and it was written by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, first published in 1845. Now, all of these poems are relatively older poems. So that tells you that poetry stays with us for a long, long time. And even poems that were written 100 years ago or 200 years ago are still very important to us today and have messages for us. Poetry is about having fun reading it, but it's also looking for the message that the poet is trying to convey to you. So listen while I read this poem. I shot an arrow into the air. It fell to earth, I knew not where. For so swiftly it flew, the sight could not follow it in its flight. I breathed a song into the air. It fell to earth, I knew not where. For who has sight so keen and strong that it can follow the flight of a song? Long, long afterward, in an oak, I found the arrow still unbroke. And the song, from beginning to end, I found it again in the heart of a friend. I think that is a really lovely, lovely poem. What about y'all?
Yeah.
I like that poem.
Yeah.
So does this poem have any rhyming words?
Mm-hmm.
What are they?
Here and where. Here and where.
What else?
Here and where.
What else?
Sight and flight.
Sight and flight. Yeah.
Sight and flight. What else?
Indie friend.
Any friend.
Yes, and strong and song. So that poem rhymes all the way through, doesn't it? So did any kind of idea come to mind when I was reading that poem? What is that poem? What is that poem about?
About an arrow.
It's about an arrow, but it's also about what?
Friendship.
A song.
His song, yeah.
Yeah, the poet is comparing a song with an arrow. And why are those two things similar according to the poet? Why are they alike? When you shoot an arrow, where does it go?
Anywhere?
Just about anywhere if you're not aiming correctly. Okay, what about when you sing a song? Where does it go?
Up and out.
Up and out. It goes in the air too. But a song comes back to you in certain ways. In your memory, through friendship. You know, you have a friend, you hear a song, you want to share it with your friend. Songs are like poetry. They're everlasting. So you can always read poetry, write poetry, and enjoy poetry. And being around people that like to write or read poetry, and then you can exchange ideas, right? So I want to encourage y'all, I know you're just second graders, but I want to encourage y'all to continue to read poetry. And if you get some kind of idea in your mind, write it down. Maybe it will become a poem someday. Okay, will you promise me that you'll do that?
Yeah. Yes.
Pinky promise. All right. Well, listen, thank you for letting me talk to you about poetry, but I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Mark because he's going to talk to you about how poetry can become a song. Okay?
Goodbye. Goodbye.
Hi, everybody. I'm Mark, and I'm also a member of the Poetry Society, and I'm also a songwriter. I've been a songwriter for over 30 years, and during my little short presentation, I'm going to play a few little songs, parts of them, and they're all songs that I've written. And this first song is a song that goes along with Miss Sheri's first poem, the poem about shadows, and this is called Shadowbound. Strolling these empty streets, I glance down at my feet, and just what do I see? My shadow follows me. I guess I've become its prey. It's a-tracking me all the way. It watches my every move. It knows me through and through. Shadow on the ground, it follows me all around. It never makes a sound, no escape. I'm shadowbound. Y'all ever think about your shadow that follows you around?
Yeah.
It's always,
Yes.
hey, it's always with us, whether we notice it or not. And I've always been intrigued with shadows, and I wrote that song, well, I guess this last winter. Sheri actually helped me write that song. But like I said, I've been writing songs for about 30 years, and I started playing guitar when I was 9 years old. Is there any musicians out there? Let me see your hands. No musicians? What do you play?
I can't see.
What instrument do you play?
Yeah.
Guitar, okay.
All right.
You're about to go do that. Hassan, what do you play?
A guitar, like this.
Okay. Emery?
Piano.
Piano.
I know, all right. Like
DJ? Drums. What? Drums. Drums.
drums. All right.
Amber?
I play sometimes flute, sometimes.
A flute?
Mhm.
That's awesome. Really good.
Y'all can form a band.
Yeah, we can.
I was in my first band when I was in 6th grade. And, you know, it takes dedication, but music for me has always been a friend that I've carried with me, and it developed into songwriting. And, you know, songs, if you think about it, you've heard music ever since before you were born. If your mother ever sang, and then when you're born, you use music to soothe babies, to lullabies. What are some of the songs that have been used to teach you to read and write?
ABC
First
song.
song you probably learned.
The ABC song. ABC song. ABC song.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, and so music has been used to teach us from the beginning, and we carry it with us all our lives. It's used, you know, it's used for national anthems. Back in prehistoric times, it would have been used to preserve history and to pass it on from generation to generation. I wrote a song when I got out of school a long time ago. I went around the country for a year and I played guitar, and I started out from here and went to Lubbock and then New York and then Atlanta. And about 2 years ago, I wrote a song about that. I'm going to play a little bit about that. It's called Making Good Time. See if you can hear the story it tells. I don't know where I'm going, but I'm making good time. I'm chasing the sun in search of a rhyme. No place to call home and I ain't got a dime. But hey, I'm making good time. I left my home when I was quite young, following the dream, looking for fun. Headed out west to join a band. I wound up in Lubbock, my guitar in hand. But that song is about when I traveled around, and you know, songs and poetry can be fun. They can be about events in our life. And we're not born songwriters or poets. It's something we develop, and it's a way of expressing ourselves. And like I said, music for me has been a friend when there's not been any friends around, when I've been alone. And it's something I can always fall back on. You know, songs can also express feelings to people we love. I wrote a song about my wife Sheri here a while back, and she kind of helped me with this song. It's called Shadows in My Dreams, another shadow song. In my dreams by the sea, on golden sands, just you and me, walking hand in hand, shadows in my dreams, silhouettes of you and me. It's all so real it seems, the hopes of what could be in my dreams.
That was good.
Thank you. And when
Very good.
I first wrote that, every time I'd play it, she'd come in the room and listen. But, you know, a lot of times for songwriters, their wives go in the other part of the house, because when you write a song, you have to play it hundreds of times to learn how to play it. And they're never finished. We're always, you know, changing a word or improving it. Do y'all, you know, most songs will have 3 verses and a chorus, and so there's a pattern that they're made. Sometimes they paint a real picture. You can hear all the description, and I'm going to play one more little piece of a song. It's called Deep Underground, but this song is very descriptive if you can hear the words to what it's saying. Winding trails down by the river, smell of a cooked smoke deep in the woods. Distant train tracks that clickety-clackin'. I wanna go home if only I could. Full moon rising over the treetops, ghostly song of a lone hoot owl. Silent streak of a falling star falling. I wanna go home, but I don't know how.
There.
Okay, what was some of the things that were described in that song? Did y'all pick up?
Emery,
You wanted to go home.
need to go home.
Yeah. What about full moon rising?
Yeah.
Trees, lonesome song of a hoot owl. Another one, my favorite is a silent streak of a falling star falling. I love falling stars, and when you see that streak, it's like they ought to be making a sound, but they don't. And so, you know, if you would, like Sheri said, if you get a chance to write down your ideas, or if you get a thought in your head, write them down. And you're never too young to start, to write a poem, to get a song. You know, they don't have to rhyme either. They just have to have a rhythm. I'm going to leave you with one more little song, and it's what we play whenever we're playing publicly. This is a song we'll end with, and it talks about a train rolling down the track. Sitting in Dallas, waiting on the train. We played the hours, that place is strange. Headed up to Wichita Falls for a little break. I gotta see my baby for goodness sake. And I just wanna hear the clickety-clack of the train rolling down that track. I just wanna hear the clickety-clack of the train rolling down that track. I just wanna hear that clickety-clack of the train rolling down that track.
Very good.
And that's the way we usually end the show. And I think, are we about out of time? Have we just about run out of time?
Just about. Yeah.
Okay, Sheri, do you have anything? Do y'all have any questions?
What was the second song you sang?
The second one,
Yes, sir.
making good time.
Making good time. Okay.
And I've got an album coming out October 15th, and its title song is Making Good Time.
Can I answer your question?
Yes.
Yes, you can ask him.
Are you a musician? Are you a musician?
Yes. Are you a musician? Yes.
And do you sing things on the radio, on stages?
If his album comes out, it could be on the radio. Absolutely.
On stages
You never
too?
know.
He could be on stages. I think that he's played before in somewhere. He talked about when he was younger, he played in a band.
Yeah, it will be online. And today, there's another man and I, there's a place that we have here in Wichita Falls called the Acoustic Parlor, where we have songwriters that we feature. And we're not doing anything right now because of the COVID, but we feature songwriters every couple of months. And it's something that's, like I said, this is a lifetime thing for me. I have a regular job, but this has always been with me, whether I've been a landman or built houses. But anyway, I appreciate you guys letting us share our trade with you today, and hope y'all got something out of it.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Okay, you bet.
You guys have a great day. Thanks for sharing.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.
I'm so
Bye. You're going to tell your mom? That's so exciting.
Later.
You're a real musician.
Bye. Bye.